if you want to experience more inner guidance, then you have to allow yourself to relax deeply. You have to allow yourself to open up and experience the spaciousness, the silence, the stillness of your being. For that's where the inner guidance is received. That openness, that sensitivity is a receptivity. Receiving that inner guidance is only possible through relaxation. And as you relax, you open. And as you open, you become more sensitive. And as you become more sensitive and open, you receive this inner guidance. Like I said, you have to be okay with the silence, the stillness that's found in solitude, the solitude of self. You start returning back to yourself and rediscovering the sanctuary, the serenity of self. There's a well of wisdom within you. That intuition, that inner knowing, that inner guidance is being received because you are listening. Because you open up, because you allow, because you have surrendered to that living wisdom within and are following that inner guidance, you continue to receive more and more. That way of living is an expression and an embodiment of the feminine energy, going within, opening up, the sensitivity, the receptivity, the relaxation, the receiving, the intuition. That, or those, are feminine qualities. And so long as you continue forcing, pushing, hard through life and are afraid of relaxing, are afraid of opening up because you fear vulnerability, you see it as a weakness, you will always be the obstacle in the way that's preventing you from discovering your strength. It's very counterintuitive because when you're afraid of being vulnerable, you perceive that vulnerability as a weakness. But what if you allow yourself to be weak? Like I said, it's not going to make sense to the mind. It's almost like permission to be weak. It takes more courage to allow yourself to feel weak, to feel vulnerable, than it does to stay strong. We think we're being courageous by continuing to resist, continuing to struggle and fight. But what if it's inverted? What if that courage is really demonstrated by allowing yourself to open up and to feel everything that you're running from. It's not a mark of courage to run from yourself. Yet, it's only those who are courageous to face themselves that discover the strength within, the power within. And like I said, it's almost like you have to give yourself permission that it's okay to feel weak. The mind doesn't often use the word vulnerability, but that vulnerability is felt as a weakness. It feels like being stripped. And I think one of the best words to describe it is being naked. Another one that comes to mind is feeling helpless. What if you allow yourself to feel helpless so fully that there's nothing you can do? And that's the sweet spot right there. When you allow yourself to feel so helpless that there's nothing you can do. Of course, you don't create a story that there's nothing you can do and start creating a story of a victim and the woe is me, but just to allow yourself to feel so exposed, so naked, so helpless. That's the sweet spot. That humility, that vulnerability, that openness is exactly the shift. And what feels like your life falling apart or everything collapsing, what feels like, well, what if I don't hold it all together? Well, what if I don't continue to be strong for myself or others? And you just simply allow yourself the space to just simply feel everything that is within you. This is about becoming soft. There's a crack that happens. And it's often when we feel like we are being broken down that we experience these breakthroughs. On one side, it feels like you're breaking down. And on the other side, you realize that you were broken open. That hard shell of the ego, the hard shell of the resistance, the distortion of the masculine energy when it's not in balance, when it's not in harmony with the feminine energy, is like this brute force, the bull in the china shop sort of imagery. It fears that softness. This is about discovering the strength of your soft side, the side of you that yields, that softens, that relaxes, that surrenders. You're not surrendering to anything other than yourself, surrendering to a greater power within you. So it's about giving yourself permission to relax, to listen to your body. If it feels like it's tired, then rest. If it feels like you've been holding on for too long, then it's time to let go. If you've been moving too quickly, slow down. It's quite common sense when you hear it out loud like that. Life feels hard because you are hard. But you'll find that the more you soften, the easier life is. And in that softening, you start finding this natural rhythm. It's a lot like, not to gender eyes, if that's the word, how men, I won't say men, but there's some guys that women would say can't dance. They're too rigid. They're too stiff. They're too hard. And it sort of looks robotic. They don't allow themselves to soften, to relax, to lighten up, to just let loose. In that loosening up, when you let go, you see that you can move, your body can move, and you can feel that flow of energy within you. And you find that natural rhythm. And what felt hard feels effortless. It's a lot like that. When you soften, when you let go, when you loosen up, you find that natural flow of life. And what seemed to be so hard starts to feel effortless. You start finding your flow. And you see that that strength doesn't come from forcing things. That strength comes from the alignment with yourself. That strength, that power, that strength and that power comes from the flow. Feeling that flow, being that flow. That power is effortless. This effortless power. Moving with life, as life, instead of moving against it. You're no longer fighting life. You're no longer resisting it. You're no longer against it. There's no more you in life. There's just you as life. And if you're ready to make this shift within yourself, if you're ready to rediscover your strength within, the power of your true nature, then I invite you to join me on this journey of truth.